Okay, still Monday, December 20th. I just got back. A little higher. I just got back from a hike, a brief hike. But I just so here's what happened. So I had to leave early to go move the car, right? I had to move the car earlier because I had training. I wasn't supposed to move my car because I was supposed to be back with my family. So my car would have been parked and I wouldn't have to worry about it. But because it just kind of switched on me, I had to think fast, like, okay, how do I move my car and not lose the spot that I normally like? Because I'm not going to be there because the training was going to go through that time. So anyways, figured it out. So grateful that I have a plan, like a parking plan or a parking routine, if you will. Because this girl learned her lesson. She ain't gonna get no more golden tickets, let me tell you that. And so I went to go move it, and I have a couple notes still too that I'm working on. And you know, sometimes when I'm in the car, like I'm recording myself as I'm remembering how the session was, and you know, because for those of you that don't, like when I type too much, I used to get like a lot of pain right here. So I audio record myself. I could only get through one note because I was still sitting with the dream, like the elements of the dream, the details of the dream. So I wrote it down. What the other stuff that kind of were that stood out in the dream, and it more the emotions really, and so when I was with him, working backwards, when I was with him, aside from being tripped out that I'm seeing him, like the adult him, right? And me, the adult me, there was this feeling of awkwardness. There was this element of awkward, like we were both feeling awkward in each other's presence. So there was this element of like just awkwardness. And it was coming from both, but still this element of us working on it, like we're still working on it. And I still can't differentiate, and I want to say it's both. It was both. This element of us working on it together, like, I guess this is where I'm struggling differentiating. If it was us working together on us, like we were working together on us, but at the same time working on this other project or this other thing, other task. And then I remembered another scene in between that, like coming to him, and this element of like kind of awkwardness. I don't say that was forced, because it didn't feel, it was just awkward. Like it was just this awkwardness of being in each other's presence, like us. So there's just this awkwardness, but we're working on it. Like I don't know how else to describe it. So anyways, so there's this element of him knowing something, like he has information. And so the scene before I get to the churches, I'm practicing, I'm reciting these phrases over and over and over again to try to remember them. I'm working on it, but not fully prepared. So there was this element of these phrases, and I was saying them over and over and over and over again to try to remember them. But there was this element of like, I couldn't remember all of it. So they're like almost not feeling prepared. And then it's the church scene. And in the church scene, on my left, there's the phrases. And I wrote down, it sounded like the Catholic sayings. You know how in Catholicism there's that repetitive, the repetitive motion, the repetitive statements over and over and over again? That's what it felt like. There was an element of what I was saying to be used for exorcisms. And so that's what I was trying to learn. Like I was trying to learn them. And then being in the church setting, that's why it caught me off surprise. Like, it caught me off guard, because I remember thinking, I'm not ready yet, I'm not ready, but there I was in the church. And then the, because because the video that I posted today, I'm talking about always feeling good in churches, right? Any church religious building, there was always this element that it felt good. It just felt good for me. And so this being in this church and having this negative energy around me, like coming at me, it was coming at me, threw me off. It threw me off guard, because that I wrote down, that was the last place I thought it would be, was in the church, because of that feeling that I've always felt good and safe in any religious building. And now it caught me off guard. It caught me off guard that the negative energy was in the church. And the building itself, like, I know I mentioned Catholicism, like it was a Catholic church, but the thing is, it was just very elaborately, not elaborate, like it was simple, but there was like the glass stain in the arches, and I've been in enough churches and different types of church buildings to know that that particular building could have been any church, not just Catholic church. I've been in Christian churches where there's stained glass stained glass windows and the arches and huge. Like, I've been in enough churches to know. Like, I remember in Upland and Ontario, where I used to live, there were a lot of like the Protestant churches, and they look like small Catholic churches. I mean, they're original churches, but it gives the illusion of like the stained glass windows and all that stuff, right? So it wasn't necessarily a Catholic church. It was just a church building. But again, just the being surprised that the negative energy was inside a traditional church threw me off. Another detail that I remember was this element of hard-boiled eggs. Just in that, I felt it more. It's weird. I know it's weird, but there was this element of hard-boiled eggs, and I looked it up too before I left, because I was just like, that's so weird. Like, there's this element of hard-boiled eggs. When I was on my way to see him, there was this element of hard-boiled eggs. Like, I love hard-boiled eggs, mind you. Like, when I used to like hardcore meal prep, hard-boiled, it was part of my daily, and I still do it. Like, it's like a quick source of protein. And so I don't have to cook them. I just cook them once, store them in the fridge, and then like. So I love hard-boiled eggs. If you cook them just right, like at 23 minutes, because I do it old school. I don't have an egg cooker. I do it old school with boiling water and stuff. And so it's like around 22, 23 minutes, just right. They come out so creamy. My sister-in-law taught me this. They come out so freaking delicious. Like, it's like creamy. Like, so good. And I've also overcooked them. The feeling that I got in the dream, they were like, it was perfect. It was like I could see it, and there was this feeling of tasting it when I was driving, or when my mom was driving me to him. So I looked up hard-boiled eggs, and here's what it says. To dream of hard-boiled eggs may represent feelings about new situations being started or made easier through intentional aggravation. Softening something up with pressure or problems to make it easier to start. Preparation to make a desired beginning easier. But then it also has a negative side to it. Hard-boiled eggs may reflect regret for having used problems or negative situations as a means to pressure something to start happening easier than normal, intentionally making something easier by occur by pushing it, making a bad situation too easy, amplifying problems or negative excuses to make something start happening, knowing full well that someone else doesn't want it to happen at all, making something so easy or aggravated that you force it to happen for your own selfish gains, cheating to ensure a desired beginning. So I'm sitting with that feeling. At no point, I just want to make this clear, at no point am I forcing this person. Like, I'm not, like, this, I'm just communicating what's freaking happening to me, right? like what I'm dreaming, what I'm feeling, like to each their own. I still abide by that. To each their own, right? You have a choice. And MJ says this all the time. She says, you have a choice to go on your spiritual mission or not, right? You always have a choice. The difficult thing is that once you see something, like, you can't unsee it. You can't unsee it once you see. So, I mean, I don't have any plans of reaching out to him after, like, that was the one time that I reached out to him, was to just check up on him and his dad, because there was something was going on, and that was it, like, because I knew of it, and I just wanted to check in, right? Because supuestamente, right, we were gonna be friends. that was it. I don't have any plans anymore to reach out to him at all. I don't, right? Like, this awareness of, like, to each their own. So to have that dream, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it was completely negative. I mean, everything else could make sense, right? Because there is this intentional, like, nudging. Like, I knew, right? Like, I knew there were messages in these dreams for him. Like, I've known that. But it's still his choice whether or not he wants to. What he chooses to do with this is up to him, right? Just as whoever you are following, you have a choice to listen to this or not, to believe it or not. That's your free will, right? Your sense of agency. I'm just documenting what's happening to me. But anyways, enough of the heart buildings. But there was this other element of knowing that he had answers, and that's why I was going to him. And I'm still being tripped out of the fact that it was my mom that was taking me to him, considering the backstory, right? So there was this transition. I knew, so there was this transition of my mom taking me to him in the beginning, but then the transition in the ride to him, it was like this knowing of, like, I need to go to him. Like, there's this knowing, like, I need to go to him in my dream. So then this triggered the Charlie Morley, is that the name? I don't know where my post-it is. The guy who talks about lucid dreaming, because he talks about there, and I'll post the video where he talks about it, one of his talks, if I didn't already post it. I hope I have it saved, about confronting your fears in your dreams. And that's what the whole process of lucid dreaming is, to help resolve the fear of nightmares. That when people have PTSD, there's this repetitive thing going on, like a loop. And so he mentioned that in the olden days, back when the hunters and gatherers, right, they would have nightmares, but it was the dreams were to prepare them for battle. There was an element of preparing you for battle in your dream, so that when it happened in real life, you were able to access those skills better, versus someone who didn't have that awareness, right? But what happens with trauma is that he explained it really well. Like, it's on a loop. And so instead of just experiencing it once, and or the imprint is so intense, right, that it's on a loop, and the purpose of it, and he mentioned it too, and I was so grateful that he did, right? The element of it being brought up is for you to heal. So it's actually helpful to the fact that you have the nightmares coming up is for that reason. It's to help you heal. It's now what you do with it, right? What you do with the dreams. And I mentioned previous client, the progression of her dreams from bracing herself for the witches, and then the final scene, and there were other scenes in between, there was still this element of fighting. So it was a bracing, and then it was actual fighting, and then it was her, like, being able to conquer them, and that's when she got the pressure here, or the pain here. So anyway, so that Charlie guy was talking about how your fear can be eradicated almost overnight, depending on how you solve the problem in your dream. So he talks about either preparing for battle, but he talks about love. So he's like, if you don't know what to do in that moment, love everything, he said. Just love it on everything. Show love to all the items in there. Just talk yourself through it. Once you're aware that it's a dream, because that part of lucid dream is that you're aware that you're in a dream, right? And so he talks about how once you're aware, you got to do something with it. Otherwise, because it's so fascinating how he talks about it. But so anyways, if you don't know what to do and you're engaging in lucid dreaming, love everything around you, because then you can see the fear shrinking. And there are stories that were shared where, like for an attacker, for example, they were able to see the child within, the child inside. And it was no longer threatening. So in essence, in your dream, you're transmuting the energy, the fear, into something else, which is love. Before going to him, I remember being surrounded by girls, women, and it felt like I was in school almost, before getting in the car to go to him. And so there was this, and at the same time, there was this element of awareness that I'm not like the other girls around me. Like I'm surrounded by them, but I'm different, and they know it too. And then I got in the car, and the car was red. Like, I remember that. And my mom was, so just the fact that my mom was driving me to him, and she was driving a red car, and it was like one of those old, like 50 style cars. I don't know any more cars, but it was like a really nice shiny red, like really nice, fancy. It was fancy. And so there's this element that she's taking me to him, but then in transition, it's different. Like it's no longer like a red car that I'm in. And not a red car that I'm in anymore. And there's this element of I need to go to him. Like, yeah. So that's all I wrote. So, so I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's, again, just this element of things being triggered to talk about it. Because I was I went to bed asking God. I was just like, okay. Like, I had a hard time going to bed because I ended up staying up late. But because I was excited about what I was doing next, this next chapter, now that I know what I'm doing, kind of, sort of, maybe. So I'm preparing, like, these ideas, and I'm talking to God. I'm just like, all right, like, I'm preparing these ideas, but are you gonna give me the substance? Like, how do I know what to talk about? And then I get into the dream. So I don't know if it's something that's really gonna happen. I don't know if this is something that is preparing me for something that's gonna happen. The chapter where I start getting the dreams is this month. And so coincidentally, yesterday, MJ posted another message for the week of the 25th, which is this week. And I was listening to it yesterday when I was waiting for pizza. So I went to go get pizza yesterday. I hardly ever eat, like, it's been a while. I've been craving bread because it's all cold and everything. So when I walk, I smell the bread. It's so good. And bread is like my weakness. And I mentioned that I break out when I eat bread, and then cheese, right? And so I decided to indulge, and I actually had, I bought myself a pizza, like a medium pizza. Well, okay, so while I was waiting for my pizza, she came out with this "you can see right through them" message for December 20th to the 25th. And I had to laugh because on the 25th, on the 25th, on the 25th is on the 25th is when I post that he reaches out, and that he reaches out, and that dream that I had in it, where it's like this extreme version of him, and I'm just like, whoa, like, and I felt like I was being tricked. And then after I was processing it, I was just like, no, it's the emotional connection. It's the emotional. So and then I had the fire sign situation at the same time. So the video is like, you can see right through them. Is what it's titled. I'm just like, oh yeah, that happened. So it's just funny to me because I'm seeing this unfold in this way, and I'm just like, oh dang. And she speaks to, I mean, she speaks to, you know, unaire, right? An extreme of the situation. But in essence, she's saying, like, like, the collective is now able to see right through people's BS, right? And see sides of them that maybe aren't it's just sides that aren't healed, right? But I can see it, like, I can see it. And so there's this element of, like, you can't hide. I can see through your BS. So anyway, she's talking about that. It's like a superpower, and it is, totally is. I mean, I'm encouraging my clients right now, because a lot of my clients who are going through trauma or have had trauma, like, we're processing it. They can see right through, like, and that's what's something that I'm talking to them about. I'm like, there's a purpose why you went through this. Your awareness is heightened, like, you have these superpowers, if you will. Another way to look at this hypervigilance or hyperactivity, not so much that it's hypervigilance. It is at the beginning, right? But then once you work through it, the hypervigilance comes down because you're embracing it in a different way. So you're transmuting the energy, right, as you're processing the trauma, to where your alert system is no longer for your own immediate life-threatening situation, if you will, like where you're needing to protect yourself in that moment, but it comes on. You're able to tap into it because you've had the experience, so you can see right through people's bullshit. And they're sharing stories with me, like, I can see it, like, I can see it. I'm like, use it to your advantage. It's like a superpower. It's a superpower, right? And so anyway, so it's just funny that she's saying that, that's coming up in the videos. So then I had this other question of, like, I guess time will tell, right? Time will tell if things start unfolding. But then what if they don't? What if it's just all my dreams, right? This element of, like, what if it is just this preparation in my dreams for something later on, right? That's going to come. And so I never really have to have any interactions with anybody, right? Like, I really don't. Like, I just need enough to know, like, it's true. It's true enough for me to follow it. It's true enough for me to trust it, right? And so all of these dreams that I'm having, I'm wondering if maybe they won't come true per se, but this element of, like, just enough to trigger people's thought process. At the end of the day, you still have a choice. I have to make that clear. At the end of the day, you still have a choice as to what you believe, right? There's an element that you can choose to opt out. Okay, no worries. But yeah, so that, you know, crazy idea came in my head, like, just wondering. But I won't know until everything unfolds, so I'm gonna keep tracking. I went for a hike. I had to go back and move my car after the thing, because I ate the whole small medium pizza. The medium pizza by myself yesterday. It was so freaking delicious, and I didn't remember the last time I had, like, good pizza and pepperoni and jalapenos, and oh, so delicious. And then I had a scone, so I really indulged yesterday. I took my pills, and they helped. Like, I didn't break out wonderfully, and but I still felt a little guilty that I had this whole freaking pizza by myself, and I'm like, damn, it's been a while I could do that, because I used to do that a lot. My ex and I would do that. We'd eat a whole large by ourselves. Like, those were chubby, or like chubs. We were chubs. And I'm feeling it now, more now. But just to put everyone's mind at ease, and my own, really, it's not really a medium. They call it a medium, but it's really a small. Like, it's really a small pizza. Not a personal pizza, a small one. Because I've had personal. So this is Southern California, small. But they call it pizza, medium. But anyways, it was freaking delicious. It's called Gabriela's or something like that. Not far from here. And I'm definitely gonna go back. And I think I need to make sure I go back in moderation. They sell it by the slice, so I need to go back just to get a slice, not the whole pizza. Because it was supposed to last me a week. Yeah, that didn't happen. I think that's what happens when I restrict myself too much from not indulging. So anyways, it's 2 o'clock, still need to eat breakfast and finish working on stuff, and I should start packing. Because I'm gonna leave Friday morning and I'll be working long days these next 3 days. So anyways, that's all. Hi, my name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and we'll see what else comes next.